Mike Kumper from Spotlight in Salem.
Guilty as charged. Let me guess. You want an autograph? Maybe a selfie? Huh?
I'm a process server. You've been served.
What the hell? In the circuit court, pain and suffering, property, 42,350. What the? Jeez. God. Oh, it was a hell of a party, though. I'll tell you that.
Hey, Mike, what you got there? A summons? A lawsuit, perhaps?
No, Charles, it is neither. It's actually a very lucrative business offer from a rival network. Thank you very much.
Looks like a lawsuit to me. And frankly, I'm surprised to see you here today. Isn't there a warrant out for your arrest?
Warrant out for my arrest? Oh, that. Well, thanks to the skills of my talented, if not ethically challenged attorney, that arrest warrant has been quashed, Charles. Oh, by the way, Lance, would you be a dear and contact FTD and order the largest bouquet? Send it to my attorney with a note. Cheryl, you are the best. You saved my ass once more. LOL. Cheers, Mike. Oh, and go ahead and charge that to the CCTV account, okay?
Hey, stop right there, Lance. What are you doing, Mike? You're not charging anything to the CCTV account.
Charles, baby, relax. Look, as the biggest star here at CCTV, I like to think I've earned a few perks along the way. Am I right?
First of all, Mike, you're not a star, okay? Seriously. I have a trained chimp in the conference room right now auditioning for your job as host on this show. And quite frankly, from what I've seen of Mr. Bonkers, I'd be worried.
Lance, can you believe this? You hear what he's saying?
No offense, Mike, but I've seen Mr. Bonkers, and he's really good. And he's so darn cute, too.
All right, fine, Charles. Good luck with your stupid chimp, all right? Is he really that good, Lance?
Yeah, Mike, he's really that good.
Damn, we're screwed. Oh, well, what the hell. Go ahead and order the bouquet. And you know what? While we're at it, go ahead and order one for Teresa. And order one for Laura, too. And do be sure to charge that to the CCTV account, okay? Welcome to Spotlight on Salem. I'm your host, Mike Kemper. If you wish to contact us, send us an email to spotlightonsalem@yahoo.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook. KMUZ Radio, community radio right here in Salem, Oregon, will be celebrating its 7th year broadcasting this month. Salem is very lucky to have KMUZ and community radio. It's a lot better than the corporate schlock we're forced to listen to most of the time on the radio with the same boring acts. Community radio allows for people in the community to create their own programs and put them on the air. But being that it is community radio, they are reliant upon grants and listener support, so I would strongly urge you to make a donation in whatever amount you feel comfortable with. I believe they will be having a pledge drive coming up early next year. So this episode, I'm going to be focusing on my two favorite programs on KMUZ. The second half of the show, I will be interviewing the delightful hosts of Radio Exotica. But first up is my favorite program, and I think it's just nudged its way into top podcast in my listening, and that is Cool Sheets with Brian Hart and Karen Holman. Welcome to Spotlight on Salem.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sitting
We
here
made it
in
to
shock.
number one.
Woohoo!
You know, it was between This American Life and Cool Sheets, but you know, what really takes it over the edge, as great as This American Life is, sometimes they're kind of depressing.
That's for sure.
But Cool Sheets
So good.
is never ever depressing. It's always fun. So
thanks.
there you go. You're now my number
All
one
right.
podcast.
Well, thank you so
It's
much.
an honor.
Oh, you're welcome. So first off, I want to congratulate you on your 100th episode. That is a huge achievement, and I also want to thank you for inviting me and allowing me to be a part of it. I was so excited to be
Yes.
on Cool Sheets,
Yeah, it was
and it
fun.
was so much fun. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, and you did a great job for never having done it. You just slid right in and like a pro.
Yeah.
Well, I I appreciate that. You know, a lot of people that watch the show have often remarked that the show's pretty good, but really you have a face for radio. So it's nice for me to hear that really matched up. Because at first I wasn't taking it as a compliment. So,
But now you can.
but now I can. So that's great. So who came up with the idea?
Brian.
Brian did.
Yep.
And how did that come about?
Well, for me, it was kind of a blend of two of my favorite things. A TV show that I used to watch all the time that I don't watch anymore called Pardon the Interruption. And also kind of one of the email newsletters that I got where Austin talks about his top 10 things of the week that he likes. And Pardon the Interruption also, it was really fast paced, and they talked about one subject and then they just kept moving along. And I loved that idea of just super fast information, things that are kind of that we're interested in. And so like a lot of the times I talk to Karen and say, hey, I got this crazy idea. What do you think about it? At that time, you already had 2 shows.
Yes.
And so this was your third, and you immediately said yes.
It's one of those things, like starting a radio station where you don't know what you're getting into at
Yeah.
first. That sounds cool. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and aside, thank you for being instrumental in getting KMUZ on the air. So that's a huge accomplishment. And
The pleasure is mine.
oh, good.
For
No,
sure.
it's a really great addition to Salem, and it's just one of the things that helps make Salem awesome. And you two also are people that make Salem awesome as well too. That's what this show is really all about, is
Thanks.
celebrating that. So I appreciate that very much. So I have a question. This last Sunday was the first time I heard the show live, because you're on the air Sundays at 9 a.m. And generally speaking, I'm still asleep at that time
pretty
of the
early
day.
for a lot of
pretty
people.
early for
Yep.
me. Yet every time I listen to the podcast, you guys are super up and happy and perky, and I'm not feeling it at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning. So how do you do that? I've never heard Brian come in and like, oh yeah. You're always up.
That's because you're not listening before we hit the button, the on-air button.
Yeah.
Oh.
There are times when we are not
Yeah.
as chipper as we sound.
We can turn it on.
We turn it on, yes.
You have to
Exactly.
perform.
Okay. You got to get in the moment, get in that mood
Yeah.
to.
But sometimes I'm in it, but
Yeah. I mean, it's surprising. You get pretty energized. I have literally felt super tired and like, how am I going to do this? And the second that we start talking about it and you just get that adrenaline going and you start talking about something that you really like, it just happens.
Yeah.
And I've always been able to do that surprisingly when I've had.
It's a skill.
Yeah.
No, it definitely is. And I was quite nervous on my first Cool Sheet, and
You
know,
didn't seem like it. You were great.
2 minutes. How am I going to fill? And then when you get there, you're like scrambling to fill in at the last part of the 2 minutes. And I
Yeah.
got it right in under the.
it's
2 minutes.
it's amazing. We work hard and make all our notes, and then you start talking, and the next thing you know, it's 1 minute 45 seconds. Like, I've only talked about like a quarter of what I wanted to say, and
Yeah, that's something we've definitely gotten better as
Yes,
our episodes have
definitely.
increased, because we used to qualify everything and talk about, oh, I really like this because of, when I grew up and blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, half my time's gone. I haven't even mentioned what I'm going to talk about.
And how did you arrive at 2 minutes being the cutoff as opposed to 3 or 2.5, or just to fit time?
I think
frame of
fine.
a 30
Yeah,
minute?
to hit, we wanted to keep it under a half hour, and maybe, pardon the interruptions, also 2 minutes. I can't remember actually, but I knew that way we could do 10. We could do 10 cool sheets,
Yeah.
and that was a nice round number. So 10 total. We each do 5, and that worked out time wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I really enjoy listening to the podcast because I do learn so much in listening to the podcast, and particularly the pants drunk portion. I didn't know I was doing a thing
Yeah.
until I heard about pants drunk, and it's like, woohoo!
Yeah.
And now
You're ahead of the
I'm
game.
ahead of the curve,
And now you can hashtag all of your posts on social media.
as pants drunk.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
That
so
was
awesome.
that was a good one.
Yeah, it was. No, I really
Made me
enjoyed
feel
that.
really good about myself.
Yes.
too.
See, that's a teaser for the viewer. You're going to have to go back and find the episode
Yep.
about pants drunk because it's a good one. I really enjoy the chemistry between the two of you on the radio. Your personalities blend really well together, and you seem to come at it some similarities, but you have enough differences that you come up with a variety of different things that Karen doesn't. And I'm just amazed that you're able to do this week in and week out. So at this time, why don't we do a couple of cool sheets so that the viewers can get an
Sure.
idea. What is this crazy show all about that we're talking about? I think it would be best so that people can get an understanding of how this works. Sound good?
That sounds
good.
Who's first?
We I was about to say we haven't decided, but
I think we just did.
I guess I'm going first.
Ladies
Put you on the
first, as
spot,
they say.
but
This
ladies
is one of the
first.
things we do is we've got this cool little timer, and
Yes.
we start that, and then it goes, there's
2
your 2
minutes.
minutes, and it counts down. So this is very useful for both of us. And it's also useful if both of us are doing it, because if one of us forgets, then it's
Oh,
Which does
right.
happen.
There's- yes,
yeah,
there's
we
another
indicate to the other when
backup.
we're talking. We're like,
Yeah, the panic look. We know the panic look really quickly now. And that's another advantage of being on radio.
Yes.
When you're like,
Nobody can see.
yeah.
definitely. Or one of us is doing like pants drunk, and the other one is cracking up.
Oh, I
and
bet.
Yeah, that was
just
hard because we're not supposed
dying.
to, we let each other have that 2 minutes
Yeah.
solo.
Yeah, that's another thing worth mentioning.
Yeah, and then that moment you were busted up. It
Oh,
was really, and then I
could-
start laughing.
barely hold it
That
together.
was pretty good. That was
That's a
fun
good
one.
recovery to come back out of that and then get through something straight-faced when you're still thinking about the
Right.
previous cool sheet.
Yeah.
Right.
But the timer helps, I'm sure, because
Yeah.
time's moving forward.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
You go
So we have our little intro thing that we do every
Oh, yeah.
week.
Can you do that
No.
from memory? Probably not.
for it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And we keep talking about redoing it,
Yeah.
making a new one, and
do
now
need to make a
2
new one.
years have passed, and so
Yeah, especially the follow us on Twitter piece. So.
That's right.
we have
I
a
didn't even
tweeted
know what
in
you were
Yeah.
talking about. I was like, what?
We have a Twitter account?
Twitter. All right.
Okay.
You gonna go for it?
Yes, so I'm going to go first. So my first cool sheet, I'm going to be talking about a cool sheet that I talked about in episode 10, and that is an artist whose name is Sean Yoro, and he has an alias that is Hula. So I first talked to him or about him that was actually brought to my attention by Auntie Viviwa, who told me about this artist, and so it originates
Nice.
from her. And the first piece that I saw was this, he had done something in a forest, and so his point was to say something about climate change and disasters that happen in nature. So he's very much in tune with nature. And so he did chalk on trees, and so when you stand at a certain angle, you see this woman that is embracing this cluster of trees, and it's in the Pacific Northwest. And it's just gorgeous, and also because it was chalk, then as it rained, it disappeared.
Oh.
Now, most of his work is done in water. So he takes advantage of surfaces of waters and then pylons coming out of the water, or a shipwreck boat, or icebergs even. And so he will paint something, like there's one in New Brunswick that's beautiful, and I want to show that. That particular one is especially amazing. And so this is the one that's called Embrace of the Trees. And this is the one in New Brunswick. And so you can see how large it is because of him. And also the tides change. There's a 28-foot differential in the tides there. Yeah.
That's
this
incredible.
New Brunswick, anyway, in Canada. So as the tide goes up and
you can
up
see.
and up, and there's the last one. It is just stunning what he does with water and with his imagery and also the stories that he is telling. So once again, this is Sean Yoro, artist, Hula.
Got to get that in. All
Yeah,
right.
that is really cool. And now I've become a big fan of him as well. I mean, who wouldn't be when you see his work?
yeah,
it's just
it's incredible.
Instantly engaging. It is incredible. And I mean, the story he tells, like on a piece of artwork like that, is amazing. It says so much with just an image. It's amazing.
Right. So his website's worth going to, because most of the pieces of art have videos that go along with them of the story of him, the creation of it.
Oh, nice.
And they're all non-toxic paints that he uses, which is great. And
It's being environmentally responsible. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay.
All right, I guess
Brian,
I'm
you're up.
Okay. Well, my first cool sheet, I am going to talk about a website that I discussed in episode 40, and it is called helloanelephant.com. And Joyce Poole and her team put over 40 years of research into studying African elephants and their language, and they have actually started to distinguish different sounds for different emotions and how these elephants communicate to each other. And they've made a catalog of that, and you can go to this website and type in a word, and then it will play it back in elephant for you. And you can even put in an emoticon, and it will translate that. So you can do the, heart eyes, and that'll be love, and then it will. This is what an elephant sounds like when it's in love, and it's really cool because it's this very interactive experience that I think appeals to all different ages. Young kids will love it because it has sounds of elephants and it does graphics and things like this. And even older people and older than me, and I loved it. I was like, oh, does it know hungry? Does it know happy? Does it know sad? And then you get to kind of learn the differences of these sounds. Sometimes they're very, when there's danger around. And I'm really fascinated with the elephants in general. Now, this website also is helping with conservation in African elephants because obviously they are in quite a bit of danger. In the 20th century, there was over 10 million, and now there's less than 400,000 African elephants. And there will only be 190,000 in 2025. That's not that far away.
Yeah.
So they are definitely... it's poaching, of course, but it's also just habitat. As Africa grows, as the civilization grows,
their habitat shrinks.
They take up a lot lot of space.
Right.
They're giant creatures. So it's a great website that is interactive and fun, and also helps. helloanelephant.com.
Very good. Very good. So how are you able to come up with 5 cool sheets every week? I know sometimes you have guest hosts, but throughout the year, particularly with everything that you're doing in your lives away from the show,
Yeah,
are you sometimes like
over
hours
1,000
before
now.
Yes.
the show, like trying to pull something together at the last minute, or do you have a stockpile of?
Yeah, that's how I do it. Yeah, it's definitely a combo.
Yeah.
So I have this ongoing sheet of notes that I just add to, like, ooh, that's a cool sheet. Ooh, that's a cool sheet. I'll also do things like I'll ask my students, hey, are there any apps you guys are,
nice.
think are cool? And they'll show me some, and I'll download them. I'll try them for a while, and sometimes they make the cut, sometimes they don't. So I'll go fishing sometimes.
So that's
Yeah,
a good
I
way.
thought it would be harder, but it seems pretty
Yes.
easy to me. I have a
yes.
backlog of, But then I
think-
have to feel it. I have to like, is this? Do I know it? Do I like it this week? And with guest hosts, I will kind of pick cool sheets that I think the host would relate to or like. So I will kind of do that. I don't know if Karen does that, but I do that. If like, when I had Mark from River City Rockstar Academy, I did more music ones, or I did things,
Okay.
either a film or a podcast.
Oh,
or
that's cool.
Whatever, So sometimes I have them waiting, and then the same thing if I have a guest, and then I'm like, no, Karen's gonna love this one, so I gotta wait, and I gotta put this one on next because she's really gonna appreciate this. So. Yeah, I have a ton, and it's been easier than I've thought. But sometimes it's difficult, though, to find the right one or whatever. I think overthink it probably, and then
Maybe.
yeah.
I go through waves for sure, but it has gotten easier with time, which is
Well, before you probably
strange.
train your mind to constantly be on the lookout for these
For
things
sure.
I
and
think
keeping
so.
yourself inquisitive, which is a great state of mind to be in at all times
Yeah.
anyways, to be inquisitive. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that's very cool.
Yeah. I would say when it has gotten, say my life's gotten overwhelming, and then like, one more thing, and cool sheets. And if I think about not doing it anymore, it's like I would really miss all the things that I learned by
Yeah,
doing
it's
it. And
true.
it's really fun. It's really rewarding.
And
so-
finding
Oh.
them doesn't take that long, but the notes, the research, we put
The research
some, we
that
put some
goes
time
into it.
it.
No,
for
you
sure.
can tell. And the thing I love about it is I commute to McMinnville every day for work. So it's perfect. I can listen to a podcast on the way to work. And you learn so much. Sometimes you'll talk about something and it's like, it doesn't really appeal to me. But then sometimes I'll hear something like, oh man, I'm driving. I need to write this down, or I need to remember to go back and look at the website or listen to it again. And I've actually bought products that
Wow.
you guys have talked about
Nice.
on there. And so, no, it's been very valuable for me. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So how long do you think you will be able to continue doing this as the cool sheets rack up?
I have no idea.
Till we get sick of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, good. I hope you continue to keep going. I am curious, though, how you guys don't tell each other what your cool sheets are before
Yeah.
you arrive. And you guys, have you shown up on the day of and, I'm doing that too? Or
Yeah,
no?
we never. We've duplicated twice just by forgetting that the other person talked about it. I did that once, and you did that once.
Skim reading.
Yeah, exactly. And it was funny too because it was within a couple weeks that we did it.
Yeah.
At a couple different shows. But no, we've always thought about that, and we would just roll with it because I don't have backups. I'm usually scrambling the morning before to get my notes together. I usually have my ideas ready, but
Yeah.
we've been lucky, I guess.
Yeah.
There's definitely been times where I've thought about it, if it's an article that's been all over the internet, and I'm like, oh, this is like
Yes.
trending. I've seen it like 6 different places.
I've heard you comment, I had that on my list. I
Yeah,
was going
well,
to do
yeah,
it.
that
but
happens for sure, but I have
Yeah,
a list
but-
of 200, so
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I can't, I talk about everything.
Okay.
Yeah, there are definitely things I see, and I'm like, I know that's on Brian's list. It's got to be like, so I'm not gonna
And
talk
you've
about
waited
that
too.
one.
There's been ones that I would talk about. I remember there's been a couple different
Oh
ones.
yes.
And you're like, would you hurry? Like,
Yeah,
I
are
didn't
you
know
gonna-
if you were
that's
ever going
right.
to talk about Tim Ferriss or whatever. So I could talk
Yes.
about this podcast or
Yes.
something. There's
Yes.
these other ones, and for whatever reason, I'll just not talk about it for a while.
I know, it is funny. Yeah, and I still haven't talked about that Tim Ferriss interview.
Oh,
I was
see?
waiting for you to, and then I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
funny.
But we choose anything. For anyone who hasn't listened to the podcast, it can be an idea even.
That's correct.
It can be a word or
Right.
an article or
Philosophy.
A book, an app, a gadget.
Yeah, like the intro.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, so
All
that's
things that
fun.
we're currently using and enjoying. in
And
our
we've
daily lives.
you do know it. You
Heard
know
a
it better
few
than
times,
us.
so
should do
Should
it.
I do the intro?
You should do our
That'd
intro
be
for
awesome.
sure. We need some help there.
except we have to do the hi, I'm Brian Hart. I'm Karen Holman. And you're listening
you
to
can do that part too.
Cool Sheets.
Make it funny.
So, are you going to give the big reveal as to what's behind the sound? Or is that to remain a secret?
It's going to remain a secret
Okay.
for now.
Okay. You're one of the only people that's ever asked. We're always funny.
Yeah.
It's funny when we have guests on and we tell them, oh, and you have to do this, and they're just like, okay.
Yeah.
And then it's always a thing, like they can't do it or they don't know if they can do it right. But no one has said, what is that, ever
Yeah.
on the show. So you're at least you've asked.
That's
I've
true.
been curious
And
about
we
that.
could, I mean, maybe this would make people watch your show if we did give the reveal.
I was just gonna say,
then-
you know, a Spotlight exclusive.
Could be an exclusive.
Yep.
I mean, I was fine with it. But
Okay.
then you immediately shut it down. I was like, oh, I guess we're not.
Oh, no, let's do it.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, the big reveal
The big reveal.
secret.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
is a sound.
It is a sound. There it is. It's
That's
So
sound.
deep.
Brian and I both heard for the first time at the same time or whatever when we traveled down to Peru together.
Oh.
And we were going to ayahuasca ceremonies, and they used that as I'm sure there's something even deeper than we don't know about, like that's moving on with the spirits or something.
Yeah, so the shaman would sing Icaros to us, or tripping out on ayahuasca. And then after every song, he would do that sound. And it became this thing with the group of people
Yes.
that we
Everybody was doing
became
it,
a family
joining in.
with, but everybody would kind of do that every once in a while. And yeah, so it kind of reminds us of
Yeah.
Oh,
back
that's
to
so
So
cool.
Peru
It
and our
indicates a
journey there.
conclusion to something.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and it is a nice nod to that.
Oh.
journey.
So that is the secret.
Great. Well, thank you both so much for being on the show tonight. I really appreciate it. It was so
Yeah.
Thank
awesome
you.
having you here.
Our pleasure.
All right. Thank you. Welcome back to the second half of our episode. It was earlier this year when I was bestowed the great honor of receiving an invitation to the island of Radio Exotica. As I recall, a courier arrived at my door, dressed in a most unusual garb, clearly a denizen of the island of Radio Exotica, when he presented me with the most exquisite invitation. It was handcrafted from an exotic wood indigenous to the island, but not a rare or endangered tree, mind you, but a sustainable tree, keeping in line with the island's credo. There was a beautiful inscription in a most exquisite font. Well, I hastily dashed off an RSVP, left it with the courier, and immediately booked passage to the mystical, some say mythical island of Radio Exotica. Well, friends and neighbors, let me assure you, the island is indeed real. And I can assure you, it is without doubt the most beautiful landscape these eyes have ever witnessed. Breathtaking, actually. And it's inhabited by a most wonderful and gracious and friendly people, with the exception of a few noted rapscallions and scalawags, Uncle Mike chiefly amongst them, but even Uncle Mike has a odd sense of charm, I suppose. But I must tell you that of all the inhabitants of the island, none are more wonderful, more gracious, and more engaging than the hosts of the radio program Radio Exotica. And they have traveled a great distance to honor me by being on my humble show, and I could not be happier. So, if you will look to my left, you will see my first guest. No, not you, Auntie. You may ask yourself, why is she attired so curiously? Is she perhaps in the Witness Protection Program? Maybe she's a fugitive from the authorities. All good guesses, I grant you. But it is my guess that Auntie has chosen to remain cloaked in mystery, because her beauty is so overpowering that those with a heart condition, well, they may find it to be too much, and hence the disguise. And next to her is the girl from Ipanema. So Auntie Viviwa, girl, welcome to Spotlight on Salem.
Thank you, Mike. What a wonderful presentation and introduction.
Well, I am still in amazement of my visit to the island. It is a magical place.
Some would say imaginary place.
I've heard that too.
Yes, that's our understanding from the anthropologists who have visited us through the years, that we are an imaginary island. However, we are a traditional chiefdom. Perhaps Auntie believes that you were thoroughly vetted by the man who swings in the hammock,
Yes.
the
yes.
head man of our tribe, Mr.
Correct.
Hammock.
And I did make acquaintance with Smokey,
Smokey Ackerman.
who helps you acquire many of the items that you need there on the island. So I must ask you, how was the journey to the mainland? I hope it was not too exhausting to get here to be on my show.
Well, not for us, because we as females are not allowed to paddle the boat, but rather we must be paddled. So we just get to relax.
Well, I do hope that the hardy young men that paddled you all the way to the mainland have been well taken care of after their arrival.
Auntie thinks they're over at a taco stand down the street, actually, getting sustenance for the trip
journey back.
Yeah.
Very good, very good thinking.
It's always easier to get here than back out to the island.
The currents being what they are.
Right.
Right.
And often we don't know where the island is.
That's true.
That's true.
It
That
does
must make
move
it very
about.
difficult to navigate.
Yes.
That is most perplexing. Well, I do hope that you find safe passage back. But I must say, girl, I'm having this feeling of deja vu, as if
Yes.
you remind me of someone I have seen before that I cannot quite.
You know, many people say that about the girl from Ipanema, tall and tan and oh so lovely.
Also very true.
Not so tan.
Well, it
Not
is.
so tall.
It is the off season, so.
When she passes, each one she passes goes, ah. Perhaps you know that about
I would
her.
concur.
She's kind of famous.
I've heard her immortalized in song.
Exactly.
We have approximately 412 versions of the girl from Ipanema,
Yes.
on vinyl.
Most excellent. So, how long have the two of you lived on the island?
Well, time passes differently on Radio Exotica, so forever is the answer, but that's hard to quantify.
I think forever is the perfect answer to that question.
Well, and I am not native to the island,
No.
so
No.
I'm from Ipanema.
Ipanema.
Right. Well, of course.
So
Her heritage is of the island, but her parents
We're traveling
had
at the
itchy
time.
feet.
yes, yes. So they are from Brazil, and since then I call myself Radio Exotica. So.
Oh, here.
And it's, you know, she grew up speaking the language, and it's her native language. And Spanish is a second language and a quiet language for girl.
Very good.
English being a third or fifth language.
And how did Girl and Auntie meet? What is the backstory on there?
Well, girl is Auntie's girl, and Auntie is girl's auntie.
Oh, mystery solved.
Well, basically, everyone on the island knows each other, and so
It is rather small.
It is small.
Yes,
so we were 88.5 people there, and we have since expanded
To
to
100.7.
Someone
That's
is coming
amazing.
very, very close to term in their pregnancy. And yes, so
Well, I do
we're
hope
very
it is a
excited.
successful pregnancy. Who knows? Maybe it will be twins, and
Well,
Without-
even that
and
more.
that would mean it must be Shaman Rob the bartender's child, because we can't even keep score anymore with it's an honor to bear child to the shaman, and so many of the children of Radio Exotica, as well as children on our neighboring partner islands, are the shaman's offspring, and often twins. He's just that
He's
potent.
known for that. Very virile man, this shaman, is he not?
Indeed.
But he is very important to our culture.
is so
because
important.
Because he is the shaman.
he is the shaman,
fact,
he is the mixologist.
It seems
and-
almost sacrilegious to utter his name without a drink in one's hand.
Oh.
That's so true. So cheers.
Cheers to shaman.
And cheers to Spotlight on Salem.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah.
I am so pleased to have you here on the show.
Now, as you may know, girl, apprentices to shaman, he noticed her one day mixing things together and realized that she had mixology skills. He then approached the man who swings in the hammock to, as you know, custom dictates and decorum, to request permission for Girl to apprentice with him. The man who swings in the hammock did approve of this agreement and apprenticeship, and so Girl has been under shaman's tutelage now for several trips around the sun.
Yes. So on every show of Radio Exotica,
Yes.
I mix 2 cocktails for the listener, one
Correct.
each hour.
The first 2 happy hours of the week.
That's right.
Yes.
You are a dedicated listener,
I am a
aren't
dedicated
you?
listener. And you are both master mixologists.
Well, no,
No?
Auntie's not really. Mostly she just slings shots around. If you want a true mixed drink, it's Girl.
Girl
Auntie
is...
just
And I-
supervises.
Often refer to the sparkly red cocktail shaker. And here
Where
it is.
would we be without the sparkly
I
red
know.
cocktail
It's
shaker?
Well, we'd have to use the utilitarian pewter one, which
No.
we didn't even bother to bring to the show.
Why would you?
Indeed.
When you have the sparkly red
Right, it kind
cocktail
of
shaker.
doesn't go with the
No.
festive.
No, it's not very
cheesy
festive at
no,
all.
It's just
It's
just-
pewter.
But it does the job when the job needs to be done.
That's right.
So let's talk about Exotica music, shall we?
Let's.
I see that you have brought some albums with you.
I have, and I decided to bring the first Exotica album I ever owned. And
Do tell.
in fact, this record is now so old and scratched that it is hanging
Retired.
on my wall. It is retired.
It is retired.
It cannot be played anymore. But it is Primitiva by Martin Denny.
Martin Denny being one of the holy triumvirate, we feel, of Exotica music. Martin Denny, Les Baxter, and Arthur Lyman are all very big names in Exotica.
Their music is featured extensively on your show, as I can
Oh,
attest.
yes. Yes. And it really is speaking of imaginary things, imaginary islands, it is an imaginary genre, so to speak.
Yes.
That's right.
So having
Springing
come,
from an imaginary island, that
Right.
makes sense.
It all ties in.
so it has its roots in jazz, but it comes from World War II era when many men were down the South Pacific and Hawaii, and they
Asia,
and really
The
enjoying the
Philippines,
culture there.
right.
And these jazz musicians would go there and be playing outside near the jungle, and they would hear the calls of the birds and the croaking of the frogs, and it fit with the music. So
We like to say it's kind of like white people from the 1950s who fell in love with exotic music and said, hey, let's add bird calls and monkey screams.
and Exotica was born.
Yes.
Oh, how wonderful.
And
Yes.
perhaps some percussion.
Right. So this is one of them, and you'll begin to see a theme here in terms of the cover and what is on it and what it looks like. I'll take this one out of the case. So here's another one by Martin
Denny.
And in terms of Exotica, okay, here's...
She's looking quite exotic on the cover.
Yes. So this is Les Baxter, and this is him then delving into African flavor.
And those who are aficionados of the original album covers will note this is the original album cover, which was later changed.
I can't imagine
Yes,
why.
Exactly. So we have everything that goes with the 1950s, including things
inappropriateness.
Exactly. That's a good word.
That's why the girls are still repressed
I
and
was
may not paddle, but
searching
must
for
be
the
paddled.
right word. Oh,
Is there a double entendre in there?
We are
or-
fighting for suffrage.
Yes, well, you should.
Girl is one of our most radical leaders in that.
Oh, Esquivel.
Oh,
Yes.
goodness. Auntie hopes the man who swings in the hammock doesn't watch this show.
Why?
Well, we wouldn't want him to get word of our...
So we have, besides those three, people like Esquivel
Yes.
make
That's
appearances.
We do like
Very
Esquivel.
nice. I do like Esquivel.
Another woman on the cover there.
Yes. And so this theme of the women and how they look and their
The way they're
faces,
posed.
their
and
poses.
the seductive look and
Exactly. So that is something you see over and over again.
Yes, Auntie has identified several signature looks that the women of Exotica exhibit, and it makes it, well, perhaps Auntie shouldn't share our secrets, but it's something that one looks for when one is perhaps at the bins looking for vinyl or at a thrift store, is, let's see, women looking sideways and slightly up through their eyelashes. Auntie's not sure if there's.
I think the
one here.
first one is a really good example of that.
Yes, it's an excellent example. And also, women touching their hair is another theme. And there was a third one. Auntie can't remember it right now, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
Women being played as a musical instrument.
Yes, that happens as well.
a less enlightened time.
So, but we don't play just Exotica. So we imagine that this is a vacation that people can take during those 2 hours,
That's
Mondays from 4 to
Yes.
6 p.m.
Such a relaxing tropical vacation.
And so it's really any warm weather music. So that could include any part of Latin America that is around the equator.
Okay.
So you'll notice Auntie has a maraca in her
Yes, I
ceremonial
see that.
headdress,
Yes.
representing the Latin flavor that we
Influences.
sometimes add to the mix.
Yes. And one of the things that we found is that the women on those covers, it tends to be more fun and
Yes.
active. So this one always makes us giggle because she looks so surprised to have just found 2 trumpets in her hands.
They just appeared
Where
out of
did
nowhere.
these
Where
come
did these come
from?
from?
Oh, look, I have trumpets.
So Mexicali brass is one of those that we enjoy playing, as well as Javier Cugat.
Yes, we love this woman.
Yes, she's doing
We
all of the
believe-
above.
She's got it.
Yes.
Yes, all the poses.
Yes, she must be the mother of a great lineage on Radio Exotica. Auntie believes are in Exotica music.
That very well could be. One of my favorites, Sergio Mendes in Brazil 66.
Oh, yes.
I love them.
Looking cool in the jungle.
And so I also wanted to point out that, of course, we have to play Herb Alpert and the Tijuana
Yes.
Brass.
Yes, this is a very special album.
Very
for us.
special.
Whipped cream and other delights.
And the whipped cream girl, Dolores, what's her last name?
Oh, you had to ask.
She signed it and I just can't.
Yeah.
So this is signed by her, the model,
Impressive.
Dolores Wilkinson. I don't know.
I don't believe that's what it is, but
Erickson.
Erickson, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yes,
So
Dolores
Dolores
Erickson.
So we met her at TikiCon, and
Very
she
fun event.
signed a couple for us. And one of these she signed to a friend of KMUZ.
Yes.
We asked her
Oh.
to sign this so that we could give this away at Pledge Drive.
Ooh.
So many times we have offered this as a premium.
As a thank you, yes.
and
and it
so far
appears to be in good condition.
no
Yes,
one has taken us
It's
up on it.
relatively, yeah.
So
the
it's
album.
still
And what's the asking price for the premium donation?
It depends on, well, so usually our baseline premium, that's not the right word, not premium. Anyway,
Our standard donation.
yeah, is $50, gets you a t-shirt or a bag or whatever our gift, thank you
you,
gift is. And then we would give this along with that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bargain.
Yeah.
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 So this is, of course, a classic
classic
album,
cover.
and we do play that as well.
You know, we suspect not many people have turntables anymore.
They are making a comeback, though.
Well,
this
it's
is
true.
true.
It's true.
And here's another special one. So we also play Hawaiian and Tahitian music, of course. And this one,
Is it Eddie?
it's Eddie Lund. So this is a musical adventure in Magic Tahiti, and this is signed by Eddie Lund.
Wow.
Is this the one you found the letter?
Yes.
The letter?
Yes. So, girl has such excellent vinyl scouting skills. She found this album in a secondhand record store, and she bought it because we do play Eddie Lund and his Tahitians, and with the Mutiny on the Bounty drummers, and Eddie Lund is considered a song catcher for Tahiti. He helped document the folk music of Tahiti. And so we knew that much about him. We didn't really know much about him. And girl bought the album based on the fact that we had another album by him, and we knew that his music was appropriate. And opened up the album, and lo and behold,
There's a typed letter, and look at the date.
Wow. December 17th, 1947.
and it's to his family. It's from Eddie
That's crazy.
Yeah.
in Tahiti, working on his soda pop bottling
Venture.
venture. Yes, his entrepreneurial dream there to corner the market on soda pop in Tahiti.
That's amazing. And you found that record where?
At a thrift store.
So what people don't,
How did
what we didn't know is that he is from Portland, Vancouver.
Oh.
Originally, he went to Tahiti sometime before the 40s, and apparently fell in love with the culture and stayed.
Very nice.
So we find all sorts of things that when we're searching or not searching.
Flotsam and jetsam, we like to say. We exist on the kindness of strange people.
So what makes a good Exotica record, in your opinion? Aside from the
Lush
album artwork.
orchestration, Auntie would say. Lush orchestration is part of it. Lots of chimes and probably strong percussion, would you say, girl?
Yeah, although personally I like it if it's more mellow because it, and more of a, I don't even know what the groove is of it, but that where it relaxes you and makes you feel like you are
Not too busy.
on that island. Exactly.
Yes. Do you prefer the
So,
instrumentals over the vocal tracks, or?
Oh, girl.
no question.
Yes.
No
Girl and
vocals.
Auntie have a little agreement that
Oh.
Auntie will not play vocals when Girl is on the show, and Girl goes ahead and plays organ music whenever she darn well feels like it. Auntie sometimes plays vocals when Girl's on the
Yes,
show, but
it's
she
true.
prefers not to have the vocals.
I see.
But I think you don't mind the more traditional Hawaiian vocals as
That's
opposed
true.
to the cheesy
That's true.
The hukilau.
Marty Robbins vocals, perhaps.
You are spot on. And also sometimes we will play Harry Belafonte, and
Yes.
those are
Well,
lovely.
Right.
of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like Harry Belafonte?
I don't know.
People who don't listen to our show.
And
Clearly.
and once in a while we play Eartha Kitt or
Ooh.
True.
any of those.
You didn't
Eartha
probably bring music to watch girls by.
I didn't.
We have some very fun how to belly dance for your husband. Goodness, yeah, that bad Eartha Kitt.
Yeah. So anything that is cheesy enough and classic enough and just in that culture and that vibe, that
Yes.
1950s.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So now how long have you been on the air at KMUZ?
Coming up
Since
on
it started, 7 years.
7
which
years.
is so hard to believe. As Auntie said, time does pass differently in the Mid-Willamette Valley than it does on the island, and girl can't possibly have been apprenticing for 6-7 years for
With
real,
Rob.
and we can't possibly have had. You're not that old, girl. That would have meant you were 12 or something when we
wouldn't make
started.
sense.
And
Just a
so
child.
yeah.
But do those arcane rules apply on the island of Radio Exotica
Well,
as they do on the mainland? Perhaps not.
Right.
Well, people often ask how old is Auntie, and the answer is
No, they don't.
The answer is no one knows for sure. And often they ask how young is girl, and the answer is no one knows for sure. She's legal, we know that.
I think the correct answer is none of your business. Is the correct answer.
Or, you know, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. And what can you tell us about the Tiki Con? You are
Well, I
Very
should
keen
probably
on the
talk
Tiki
about that
Con.
since I remember it.
It's true.
There's a story behind that, as I recall.
Yes, there is. What would girl like to share about
Well,
TikiCon?
first I went by myself the first year that we discovered it, and because there was a bar, what do you call it?
Iron Tiki
Iron
Tender.
Tiki Tender.
Contest.
Yes. So, and they had also a workshop to do some training. So this must have been before I started apprenticing with Shaman Rob.
Auntie thinks you were already apprenticing, but he might have actually recommended that you go and do some
And maybe get some,
observation.
get some ideas
Auntie
from other
remembers
people.
something like that.
So anyway, that was great fun. But I didn't stay long. I was just there for the afternoon and got some training and some drinks. So the following year, Auntie and I went, and we signed up ahead
So she
of time.
says.
We signed up ahead of time for the Tiki Bar Tour. And so in this, it's pretty much what it sounds like.
Goodness gracious, some people are creative in their tiki bars that you would never ever know. Unsuspecting little middle class suburban houses have these
Dungeons.
like paradise in the basement. You would never know.
Like visiting the jungle room at Graceland.
It's kind of like that. So except these are small houses. So yeah, the Tiki Bar Tour cramming a
nice.
bunch of people in on these buses, and we did go to some distilleries, and we went
Yes.
to Halepele.
Yes.
love
And we went
jalapenos.
Yes.
to the Hmong Tiki
Trader
or
Jo-
something
oh.
who made the mugs. We went
Yes.
to
Well, but that was their house, wasn't it?
oh maybe.
Yeah. But in any case,
Yeah.
we did a couple of the establishments, like commercial places, and then we went to people's homes. So
That
these
had
are-
to be probably part of the best part of the tour.
It
just
was.
Going into
Yes, we've
people's
been a
private-
mermaid
Yes.
in one of the pools.
Someone's backyard at the pool
Yes.
with a mermaid swimming
She was
around.
beautiful.
Oh, my goodness.
Such a
Yes.
beautiful
Wow.
creature.
And yeah, as Auntie said, this basement was, I mean, I said dungeon, but it was just dark.
Uber
and,
cool is what it was.
Yes. And these people are way into it. You can tell they live
For that.
the tiki life all the
Yeah.
time. And so it was their pleasure to show it off to
Oh, I
people who
bet.
could appreciate
Goodness,
it.
to show
Right.
off their tiki rooms and to show off their mixology skills. And every single place we went just kept offering us cocktail after cocktail.
Well, and you don't want to be rude.
Auntie thought she couldn't turn them down.
No, that would be rude.
And when we went to Halepele, we had to get the big
The
flaming bowl,
volcano.
even though there were two of us. It was
Lava
drink made for four,
bowl.
I think is what it was called.
possibly.
Auntie may have a video of that somewhere.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
anyway, it was really fun.
it was quite fun. And it's something they do each year. And if people are interested, they can go to TikiCon, that's TIKIKON.com. Girl and Auntie don't get any kickback, but TikiCon, if you hear about us and would like to give us something, we'd love to be mascots
We're
for
open
you or something.
to solicitations of fundraising at the station.
We've actually tried to have them come on our show, and the scheduling has just never worked out.
But it is every July.
Every
and
July.
it's up in the Portland area.
Nice.
You can spend the night. They have fabulous bands.
I think that's probably the best option.
Yes.
would be to spend the night when there's not much
yes,
alcohol
indeed.
involved.
And the fashion shows are amazing. Just
Oh.
one year, the theme
Fabulous.
had to do with, I guess travel. Yeah, it was on board Tiki Flight something, and so there were all these stewardesses, with
Right,
the
and-
get-ups
and
from the 50s.
Airline
Oh, how
captains
crazy.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
The
it
little
was
hats and
quite
everything,
fun,
too.
Yeah.
How hilarious.
Yeah, super fun.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for appearing on the show. And I hope that everyone has enjoyed the cool sheets and Radio Exotica. And if you are so inclined, I would encourage you to make donations to KMUZ, as they are community radio and are reliant upon listener donations and grants. And that's it for this month's episode of Spotlight on Salem. Thank you.